Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Scooch podcast. I don't know what part of series this will be. A bonus episode, an extra, a gab, whatever the fuck series we have. This is just a Scooch podcast. It'll probably just be a little discussion, but it is a podcast at heart. I'm here, Noah, your host. We have Joseph over there. Say hi.
Sup?
And then we have Fizgiig with us. Woohoo! It's been a while.
It has been.
Last time he was on here, it was the Christmas special.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the beef, man? How come you didn't want to come back on the show?
I was waiting for an invite or a call, but I never got it.
Shame on you,
I've been sitting by the phone every day, waiting for my chance, and finally this comes.
Yeah, he's been texting me every day. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? And then I look back on our videos. I'm like, that name resonates with me. Where have I seen that before?
I should know that guy.
But yeah, this has kind of been in the talks for like a month now. We've been wanting to discuss the sequel trilogy, or more specifically, The Rise of Skywalker. And now here we are to talk about The Rise of Skywalker, Star Wars. Star Wars again, everybody.
Supposedly the final one.
The final one that concludes the awesome Skywalker saga.
I'd say probably about 15 years they'll reunite for 10, 11, 12.
Then they like supposedly give Rian Johnson, or they're gonna give him his own trilogy or something.
Yeah.
Are they still going to, or were they just going to, and then they pulled it away?
I think it was still in the works or something during Rise of Skywalker when that released.
I'm pretty sure that's still on. I know what's the Benioff and Wise from Game of Thrones, they were originally supposed to do something, but that's not what happened.
Dude, fuck those guys.
I'd love to see that.
Dude, that's what you get. You ruined Game of Thrones. How do you ruin Game of Thrones?
So we could do a whole.
How do you mess up?
We could do a whole podcast on that one too.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Well, they didn't have any writing material to go off of, right? So
yeah, but also they're writers. It's their job. Like, just write the story, brother.
That's true, and I think that's why Force Awakens was somewhat competent, because Lucas had like a story kind of written out post Revenge of the Sith.
I heard they threw it in the trash. I heard that he handed it to them and they were like, "Oh, thanks, George," and then they just like tossed it in a dumpster.
They certainly took ideas from it, because he did write something about like a female Jedi visiting Luke on an island, like little details like that.
I'm pretty sure that originally, in Empire, when Yoda's like, "There is another," and then Luke leaves or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, he wasn't supposed to be Leia's sister. They didn't know that was going to be a thing yet. And apparently they were talking about another Jedi, and then that was going to be George Lucas's plan for a sequel trilogy, was that then we were going to jump across the galaxy to the other Last Jedi alive, and that was going to be like about them.
The Last of the Jedi.
It's a good title. It would have been.
I don't know. I'm just kind of checked out of Star Wars at this point. The movies, anyway. I like The Mandalorian because it's just something new and fresh. Except for season 2, it was like, all right, let's focus on the Jedi again.
Have you seen the Clone Wars show?
You asking me?
Yeah, who are you asking?
Both of you.
I have not. Haven't seen the movie. Haven't seen the show.
I haven't seen the movie. I've tried to watch the show multiple times. I just can't. I have a thing against animation for some reason.
What's your problem, buddy?
I don't know.
You just can't like immerse yourself into it or something.
Yeah, in the back of my mind, I'm always like, I don't know, it has no soul, I guess, or something. I can always just tell it's not human. I can't like relate to it.
What about Pixar?
I think Pixar movies are good, but
I saw the Christmas special. I rewatched what happened before I joined, and I got a bone to pick with you, Noah. And since Fizgiig's here, I do not like the Lion King movie. That live action.
Didn't you already address this? Didn't you address this?
I hated that daggone movie.
I'm pretty sure you addressed this in the Mandalorian discussion.
I know I did.
But
I just want to set the record straight with Fizgiig, because I don't want that on my record.
I never said you like Lion King. I said you like Maleficent.
Oh yeah, that was the one. Yeah, that one too. I don't like Maleficent either.
I think Maleficent's fine.
I said you hated Lion King, which is weird because I remember you saying you enjoyed some live action Disney properties.
The only ones that I've liked: Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, The Jungle Book. Out of all the ones that I've
Snow
seen,
White and the Huntsman.
that wasn't one. That was I think that was some other studio. I don't know what the studio it was, but it wasn't Disney.
Oh yeah. That one was weird. What? Didn't the queen like bathe in a thing of gold or something?
I honestly don't remember. It's been so freaking long since I've seen that daggone
Scrooge
movie.
Duck style.
Yeah. No, it was. Well, it wasn't a pile of gold. It was like melted gold, I assume. I just remember like a shot of her like coming out of the water and it like sticking to her and being like, "This is weird."
Was it like Snoke with his golden robe?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, it was Universal.
Huh. We're trying to avoid talking about those movies, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
Can this podcast be about something else?
I mean, I will say this. Don't get me wrong. I am not saying that Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker is I liked it, but there is a documentary on Disney Plus that y'all can watch if y'all want to. And maybe I'm just a fan of documentaries, so that may have something to do with it. But there's about a 2-hour documentary about like the whole lead up to Rise of Skywalker, the behind the scenes. They have some behind the scenes of like the original trilogy. I don't remember anything of them talking about the prequels. The only thing they talked about with the prequels was that scene where Palpatine and sits Anakin down, tells him the story of Darth Plagueis.
In the opera.
Yeah. But I mean, that documentary makes me like the movie a little bit more. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit.
That's the thing with some properties. I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but it's like, oh, you have to know some of the lore. Like you've had to read some of the books or something. And I just would rather have like the movie show me how good it is, not the behind the scenes sort of thing, or the build up to it or whatnot.
Do you think that you could watch? Do you think of any of the sequel trilogy movies? Do you think that if you just plucked one out and watched it without having seen any other Star Wars anything, it would make any sense to you?
No, absolutely not.
I think that The Force Awakens would.
If any of them would be The Force Awakens.
I don't think that you have. I don't think that. Like, what I'm asking is, do you think you need to have seen the originals or the prequels before?
I mean, I'm sure there's like a whole generation of kids watching these without seeing the other ones.
That's
so.
true. This is a lot of kids' introduction to Star Wars was probably these movies.
Yeah, and that's why Disney's like, why don't we just retell the original story?
Dude, in a couple, all of you people hating on the sequels, in a couple years, when those kids grow up, we're going to have the exact same thing that we had the prequels, where kids are going to be like, oh, I grew up watching them, and these ones are the best ones, and then it's going to be a whole nother thing.
I gotta say, I mean, like, I like the prequels, but there's still, like, some moments are just genuinely bad.
Oh,
so I wouldn't say
I hate the prequels. I think Revenge of the Sith is fine, but, like, Attack of the Clones is... until Justice League came out, Attack of the Clones was, for its budget, the worst movie I've ever seen.
When's the last time you saw them?
Probably like a year ago.
Oh, wow, you're not gonna like my ranking video.
I mean, that's fine. No, I know that I'm in the minority. I know that a lot of people like the prequels for some reason.
I was just gonna say, I know what you mean, Fizz. Like, it took a while for people to come around to the prequels, and it might be the same for the sequel trilogy.
It wasn't until when the sequels started coming out that I realized people liked the prequels, because the sequels started coming out and I was like, oh, nice, more Star Wars, and then people were like, it's not the same because the prequels did this and the prequels are the best, and I was like, I was like, where am I? I feel like I stepped into an alternate reality.
There has to be a name for that kind of syndrome where it's like, I hate this property, but the new one came out, so this one's automatically good because it's older, sort of thing.
As soon as the next sequel trilogy comes out, people will be defending the sequel trilogy. And once the next one comes out, people will be defending that. I will not be one
of them.
Yeah.
That's the Star Wars. That's one of the main things I do not like about fandom in general, especially nowadays with Twitter and cancel culture. Well, I don't want to get into all that crap, but because I will say, I like the prequels. I still think the originals Not gonna, like I've seen every single Star Wars movie from the 9 episodes to Rogue One, Solo now, and the Clone Wars movie. And the only one that I didn't like was Rise of Skywalker.
Really?
Yeah.
You think that Rise of Skywalker is worse than Attack of the Clones?
Yes.
I'm
not saying it's a perfect movie. Do not get me wrong. There are some main things that I don't like about Attack of the Clones. I've already had like an hour discussion on my channel about this daggone prequels videos. I don't think Jake Lloyd, who played young Anakin, deserved that much hate. I don't think
so either. I can agree with that.
I don't know the woman's name offhand. Let me look it up real
Natalie
quick.
Portman?
Oh, no, not Natalie Portman. The Rose from the sequel trilogy.
Oh, yeah. She also did not deserve. She literally got so much hate that they were like...
She deleted...
They were like, we're going to remove you from the third movie.
Yeah.
I don't think she was like necessarily bad, but she was, in my opinion, an annoying character. Like,
I don't.
But that's not like the fault of the actor. That's just the writing, you know. Like, don't
you say she was
her.
annoying, but is she more annoying than Jar Jar Binks?
Now
I like Jar Jar.
I'll defend Jar Jar in a way now.
Okay, I really am in the wrong timeline.
Because here's the thing,
dude.
Here's the thing, with again, I talk about this all the time on that daggone prequel video on my channel. The thing with Jar Jar is, if George Lucas would have gone, that theory that I'm sure you've heard of this one, Darth Jar Jar.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
I think that was maybe not exactly like that, but I think there was some kind of plan like that George Lucas had in mind, because he compared Jar Jar to Yoda and how Yoda was first introduced in Empire Strikes Back. It's essentially the same as Jar Jar in Phantom Menace. Granted, Jar Jar was like that the entire movie.
Did he say that? Did he say that when the Phantom Menace was coming out, or did he say that afterwards?
No, he said it while
George Lucas is the king of walking back on his plan and being like, and saying hindsight shit and being like, oh well, we were planning on doing this.
No,
he's the king of doing that.
He was talking about it like while he was making the movie, while he was making Phantom Menace.
Jar Jar is the key to all of this.
I did hear that quote, dude.
Because he was wanting to mirror the original trilogy. Like, he was the original. It's very subtle, but it's implied that Palpatine is the father of Anakin Skywalker. Because, freaking Shmi, however you pronounce her, his mother's, she's telling Qui-Gon that there was no father, that it just happened like the Virgin Mary. It's like alluded that Palpatine was the creator of Anakin. Like he was the creator of Snoke, which... Is
it eluded? I thought that was just what it was.
That was the original plan, but it never, because he was wanting... I don't remember if he said it in episode 2 or 3, where he was wanting to do a reveal of the prequels version of I Am Your Father.
Mm-hmm. I will say this, what differentiates the prequels from the sequel trilogy is, at least with the prequels, George had a vision and it all written out. The sequel trilogy was not planned at all. They made up stuff.
They were flying by the seat of their pants.
Yeah,
which is crazy to me because Disney owns Marvel, and I feel like Disney should know that the reason Marvel is so successful is that they've planned it out. They know what the fuck they're doing, but then they just went, nah, fuck it, let's just make 3 movies with no idea what's going on.
I love how we're about 15 minutes in and we barely talked about the second sequels.
Yeah.
The original trilogy had different directors. That's because it wasn't planned to be a trilogy. But this is no excuse for the sequel trilogy. Why is there different directors? Why not just... Well, still, 2, 3, that's only a 1-digit difference.
Who was gonna direct the third before they brought J.J. Abrams back? Was it gonna be Rian Johnson again?
It went through a myriad of different people, actually.
The director of Jurassic World.
Yeah, it was It was like 5 different people from what I've like looked up.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised J.J. Abrams didn't do Jurassic World.
It was
like
hot potato
Martin
for a little bit.
Scorsese.
Yeah, it was nobody like that now. Like I remember,
It's like all Italian guys in Star Wars. Yeah, that would have been great.
Isn't Watto an Italian guy? Or is he Jewish?
I think that's like a Jewish stereotype. Yeah, I think a lot of people had gripes with that character.
You won't. It's
Yeah,
the only thing from
exactly.
Phantom Menace that I like. Watto. Best character in Star Wars.
Like I wouldn't defend either one, but I will say that the prequel, at least, it felt like there was a vision there.
That's fair. George Lucas made the trilogy that he wanted to make.
Yeah.
No, literally, no one said no to him. He had
Yep.
complete control over everything.
Exactly. And from what I've read, I think like JJ and Rian Johnson had complete control as well with how they handled their Star Wars property. And
Yeah.
The Last Jedi felt like Ryan knew what he was doing. Like you could feel that in The Last Jedi.
I really like The Last Jedi. I have said this, and this is my personal opinion. I think it's the best. It's the best Star Wars movie since Return of the Jedi,
That's fair.
in my opinion.
I think it's the best one out of the sequel trilogy for sure, but I still don't think I'm like fully on
It's the
board
most
with
original
it.
and like
Yeah,
its
like
own thing.
like I said, you could tell there was a vision there, and you felt like you knew what
What?
Ryan
It's not?
wanted.
You think Rise of Skywalker and Force Awakens are more original?
no, I'm not saying it
No, I
was.
think he
Wasn't
just-
like,
He's contemplating what you're saying about the best since Return of the Jedi.
oh, I'm not going to say anything about that because I'm not going. That would just give my daggone ranking video away. But as far as the Last Jedi being original, there are some serious. I've already I don't think I said it on after we started recording, but how I said that the Force Awakens was essentially the same as the original Star Wars. Last Jedi has some serious parallels with Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, like all of them have parallels to the original trilogy.
I wouldn't say
but
Rise of Skywalker has.
I think Ryan handled it best with like introducing new themes and new ideas to it. Whereas Jar Jar's like, yeah, let's just Jar Jar, JJ, Jar Jar Abrams.
That's what the JJ stands for. He's not gonna make a Star Wars movie.
He is the Sith. He ruined Star Wars. That's what it was. Jar Jar Abrams. Excuse me, J.J. Abrams.
Do we want to talk about them in order? Like, do we just want to just talk about the Force Awakens and then talk about?
I don't know. Hey, I will say this:
jump around.
this discussion's just like the sequel trilogy. A
Not
mess.
not playing.
Not planned in a mess.
Flying off the rails.
Yeah, exactly. Kathleen Kennedy's in my bedroom right now.
Oh dear Lord, you.
Put in a porg.
Put in some porgs in there. Have Chewbacca eating a porg.
What if we pretend to kill Chewbacca for 5 minutes
Oh,
and then he's
God.
back? That was
No. Oh,
That's so stupid.
God.
That's what I'm talking about. I watch Rise of Skywalker and it happens and I'm just laughing at it because I'm like, that's so dumb.
I mean, they killed off everyone in the original cast anyway. Why not Chewbacca?
It's true.
Because he's like a divvy. He's like a merchandise, you know? He's like the BB-88 shit. It could be a toy.
Here's the thing. I don't know if this was like the original thought process. I thought of like briefly mentioned that documentary on Disney Plus. And JJ was talking about how 7 was essentially a Han Solo story at like the original characters. 7 was Han, 8 was Luke, and 9 was going to be Leia. But unfortunately,
But then eventually she passed away.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll say, as much as we're probably going to give crap for the Rise of Skywalker, I don't know if y'all going to agree, but me personally, I think they handled Leia pretty well.
Oh no, yeah, all that stuff is done tastefully and fine. Yeah.
I don't think so. They put like
You
a
don't think
dirty
so?
blanket around over her and like a CG whatever Maz says goodbye princess. Like they couldn't even have like a human being.
She's
say
a
it.
puppet. She's a puppet in Rise of Skywalker.
I thought she was CG. Whatever the
She's
fuck
CG
she
in
is.
Force Awakens, I'm pretty sure, but I'm like 75% sure in Rise of Skywalker she's a puppet.
Well, who gives a fuck? It's a fake thing.
It's true. They made like a real effort in the sequels to use like a lot of puppets and stuff.
Yeah, but that doesn't make Star Wars Star Wars.
I think that it makes it look like Star Wars. That's one of my biggest complaints with the prequels is that they don't look like Star Wars. Because it's just a CGI mess.
I feel like it still has a sense of like Star Wars heart to it. These new ones don't have heart. I think
the Phantom Menace has a Star Wars heart to it.
It's just like, yeah, we got, there's puppets, it's Star Wars. It's like, well, they had puppets back then because they didn't have the technology to have, like, because you see what George with his re-edits, all the fucking CG put in there, but not saying that CG beats it all the time.
People saying that, like, Rian Johnson killed Star Wars and that The Last Jedi is, like the worst thing ever and that's what killed Star Wars and now Star Wars is dead. You agree with that? I would say that if Star Wars died, it died when George Lucas started re-releasing them with CGI monsters on top. That was when Star Wars got ruined.
I'm on board with you. I feel like the original trilogy is just fine. The prequel trilogy was unnecessary, but I don't care that it exists.
Yeah,
I still find merit in it. And this new sequel trilogy, I find zero merit in it. Like zero rewatch. Wow. Like I find myself not even wanting to go back to these films. Last Jedi probably being the exception because there was some vision there and some competency and some interesting ideas, whereas The Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker are just like complete. Well, Rise of Skywalker being complete garbage and Force Awakens being like, well, we don't really have any new ideas. Let's just do A New Hope again.
See, I don't.
Which it was
you look at it as they're out of ideas. I look at it as like. In 2015, when did the original Star Wars come out? 1975, 1976, something like that?
77.
Okay, so it had been 48 years since Return of the Jedi. And you have to and then close to 20 years since the return of Revenge of the Sith. I don't think of it as, they were out of ideas. I think of it as you have to get everyone back on board with Star Wars, and it's like there's new kids that probably don't even know what the fuck Star Wars is, and you have to try and bring them into the universe. What better way than to tell a story that's like the same as an old one, so it's kind of nostalgic for the old people, but it's also it's a tried and true plot because it worked with A New Hope, so it should work with the newer audiences, and then we just slide our new characters into it.
I think kids are more into Marvel. That's their Star Wars now. I think you could just leave Star Wars alone. They're
not going to. All of those monies made bank. All of those movies made massive amounts of cash.
Well, I think I read somewhere Rise of Skywalker was kind of a flop with audience, in terms of box office compared to the other ones, which I don't blame.
I'm sure compared to the other ones because a lot of people hated Last Jedi.
I don't get the complete hate train on Last Jedi. That's the only one I would say I'd out of the sequel trilogy. I can understand how some people are
I have a Last Jedi poster on my wall. I like it so much.
It's butthurt Star Wars fans from the original trilogy.
Wait, JMash, do you like Last Jedi?
Yeah. I'll say this.
I was scared I was going to have to defend myself the whole time.
No, I like Last Jedi. I'll say that when I watched it in the theater, there were some parts where I was really starting to get bored. The casino planet, the casino
thing, that's so unnecessary. I don't like that at all.
Well, I kind of disagree. That subplot was essential, and I didn't really feel like it was all that long. I felt like the final act was super dragged out. I didn't like the final act all that much.
When I rewatched it yesterday, the casino planet was not as long and boring as I remember. It's still dragged out a little bit, but
I don't think it's horrible. But I think that if I had to point out a spot of the movie that I'm like, this is my least favorite part, I would say it's that part. But
I disagree. I feel like the final act was entirely too long. It was a whole hour after the Baca, whatever that planet was called, the casino planet. I felt like the pacing was still there, but the final act was such a slog to get through for me.
I don't have that problem with it. I kind of like the ending.
I don't. And Rose saving Finn, I think that they didn't do anything with Finn in the Rise of Skywalker at all. He was this Rey's fanboy. I feel like if he was a martyr in The Last Jedi, that would have been more fitting to his character after he essentially killed that section of the First Order that he was a part of. I feel like that would have been a good send off for Finn, but they did. absolutely nothing with his character in Rise of Skywalker. It's just like Rey fanboy screaming, Rey,
I really
Rey, I gotta
think-
tell you something.
I really do think that the reason that Rise of Skywalker sucks so much is because of stupid fucking fans that threw a fit about The Last Jedi and telling them to make it uncanon and to like, they're like, oh, you need to make another sequel trilogy because you ruined it with this one and you've killed Star Wars. You fucked my childhood. Like, so then they were like, and they had to fucking rethink everything and go back on like everything that Rian Johnson built. So the third movie has to be the second movie and the final like movie.
That's the Star Wars fandom.
See, I don't get
It's
that
insane.
at all. Yeah, that's another thing. It's like two directors trying to shove their ideas in there, and they're just like counteract each other, and it's like that's what makes this whole sequel trilogy feel not even connected. Like Last Jedi feels totally different than the other two. Totally different.
It does. It has a different look to its shot. It's
Yeah,
shot
you can tell
beautifully.
yeah. I mean, Ryan's a good Johnson, a good director.
Dude, he is. Have
Right?
you guys seen Knives Out? Knives Out is amazing.
Yeah, I love Knives Out.
I thought it was okay.
Oh, I really like Knives Out.
But I mean, if the original plan, if this was the plan all along for Finn, I'll say this: to have him, they essentially became like Peeta and Katniss from the Hunger Games. That's essentially what Rey and Finn became. Just screaming for each other, looking for each other. Where is Finn? Where is Rey? Just entirely. If this was the plan for him in the Rise of Skywalker, he should have sacrificed himself actually in the Last Jedi.
Yeah, and like by the time I got to Rise of Skywalker, I watched it like 2 days ago for the first time. I didn't care at all what happened to any of these characters. I had like no emotional resonance with any of these characters, and that's like my main gripe with it. If I don't care what happens to the protagonist, why should I care about this movie? It's just done awfully.
Yeah.
I think even on a surface level, like face value, it's a bad movie, not just a bad Star Wars movie, but just a bad movie. It's just like them running away the whole time, and there's like, and that final fight scene with the Emperor was just so bad and boring. It's like, why are you still using lightning to? I mean, that just like comes back to your face every time.
Dude, the part when he like sucks their energy or whatever, and like he heals, and then he just shoots a huge lightning beam into the sky while screaming. I laughed out loud in the theater. It was so
like
funny.
Bass boosted.
We have a dyad. And yeah, it was like boom. I was just like,
like
oh
a
my
meme.
lord, this is the
It's
most
like a meme
ridiculous thing that has been, that this is amazing. I was laughing so hard. That's why I don't think I hate Rise of Skywalker, because I'm laughing because I'm just like, this is so dumb.
Yeah.
All the whole sequel trilogy, they're all shot well. They're all of the effects are amazing. I think everyone does a great job with the acting. Direction is good, like cinematography's great. Everything's great except the writing.
Yeah. And another thing with like Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker is it's okay. I'm fine with things having like little chuckles here, little jokes, little nods at the camera sort of thing. But Rise of Skywalker did it way too much. Way too many like jokes that didn't fit the tone of the movie. They did that a little bit in Last Jedi, but I think Ryan did it tastefully. Like,
the only one that I think gets a lot of people upset is in the opening when he like calls General Hux and he's like, "It's about your mother." I think everyone gets mad about that. In the theater, I thought that was funny. I was like, that's good.
I just don't like those little... It's trying to be like Marvel, like, let's joke around a little bit, you know?
Whip.
I mean, the Star Wars always had humor, though. And I'll say this.
I think in an unintentional way. Though.
There's usually
Not
the
exactly.
humor is usually that there's a character that is just a clown. Like C-3PO is a clown in the original trilogy. And he's the comedic relief. Jar Jar Binks is a clown in the prequels.
I hated 3PO.
I don't think it's like exactly like winks at the camera
Really?
kind
Wait,
of
hold on.
comedy.
You like Jar Jar Binks, but you hate C-3PO? Because Jar Jar Binks is a million times worse than C-3PO. Or do you mean in the sequels?
Just all around just annoying. Jar Jar,
Wow.
I'll say this. I didn't really care for him before, but since hearing that Darth Jar Jar, what he is now, I don't like. If there's, I don't know how to phrase this. There's pockets where he's not as annoying as I think other people think. There are some where he is a little bit too much.
I don't think that he is the reason any of those movies are bad or anything, but I don't know. I think that if I liked those movies, I wouldn't mind him being in it. But I don't like those movies, and he's just another annoying thing on top of them, you know? Which he's only really in the first one. He's barely in the second one, and he shows up for like one scene in the third. Yeah.
Yeah, like a really political speech to the council.
Oh, Jesus.
Misa thinks
if he had...
he said need to form an empire.
God almighty.
Bro, where is Jar Jar Binks in the sequels? George Lucas needs to CGI Jar Jar Binks into the sequels, because I'm like, where is he?
If my memory serves me correctly, Jar Jar's not in Revenge of the Sith at all, is he?
He
does a speech to the... Yeah.
He was at Padme's funeral.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen the
Maybe he
prequels.
hung himself, who knows?
I
hope they find him dead in Detroit.
He was cloned into... He was genetically modified into Snoke.
That was actually a theory going on.
I'm sure that was a fan theory.
Yeah. There was a theory going on about him being Darth Plagueis too, the Snoke.
Yeah.
But I mean,
there was a theory going around that he was Mace Windu.
I haven't heard about that one.
I've heard that one. I'm like, that dude's white. That Mace Windu's black.
He went out the window.
But you had talked earlier about the special editions and all the changes George Lucas made.
Mm.
I'll say this: there are some that it was the right thing to change. There are some that it should not have happened.
What he did to Empire Strikes Back is what he should have done to all of them, because from memory, and I haven't seen Empire Strikes Back in probably a year, there's no CGI mess over it. He just went in and like erased black lines around the mats and like fixed up some of the special effects and stuff, which is totally fine if he wants to do that. If he wants to make it look better, that's fine. But like in A New Hope, when he adds in a scene with what's his name? Jabba, yeah. But when they filmed it, it wasn't. It's supposed to be a slug monster. It's supposed to be a guy, so they had to do all that, and it's like, why? Or that he made Han like move his head so that he shoots second because he didn't want him to shoot first. Why mess with that? Nobody was complaining about that until you started doing it.
Yeah, I'll say that.
That's so funny because Han's body doesn't move.
The Ewoks blinking. Have you seen the Ewoks blinking? It's terrifying.
I haven't seen
that.
It's a horrible CGI little flap of flesh that comes over their eyes. It's just like, and it's horrifying.
I have a little bit of a problem with the Ewoks in general, but I mean, the only three that I can think of, off the top of my head, the only three changes that I did not agree with: the Han shooting first, no, the Greedo shooting first. Sorry, that little debacle. The Jabba scene in A New Hope, and the Darth Vader shouting no in Return of the Jedi.
Oh yeah, that's so bizarre because he's like, audience are too stupid to understand what's happening. We should have him yell no.
I mean, but the change he made with the Emperor in Empire when he started talking on.
Yes, that's good. That's fine because it wasn't.
It did not look good.
I will say it doesn't look great though, because when you see him in the makeup, it's like the Revenge of the Sith makeup. It's not the Return of the Jedi makeup, which makes sense because they were probably filming. That's probably the makeup they had, but
yeah, that didn't really bother me that much.
It doesn't. He's blue and he's in the corner. It doesn't matter. But.
Yeah, Revenge of the Sith. Anakin's the Force ghost now.
That one I go back and forth. I don't know. That one I don't know how I feel about that one.
Have either of you guys seen any of the prequel like documentaries?
No, I can't find. I haven't found.
I watched them, and it had the opposite effect of what the documentary you watched had on you. It made me dislike them even more. Because there was like a thing where it was like they brought out the heads for who's the guy in Attack of the Clones that Obi-Wan goes to talk to? Dexter Jettster, the guy that at the diner.
Yeah.
The crazy foreign monster guy. They brought out like a bunch of heads, and they were like, "Okay, George, pick one of these heads that you want the guy to look like." And he's like, okay, I want the eyes from this guy, the ears from this one, the mouth from this one, the hair from this one. And they're like, okay, George. And there was like a scene where like people were walking into a cockpit, and he was like, see, in this take, I like how fast he walks, but in this take, I like how fast this guy walks. Let's freaking mask out this guy and place him over himself in this scene. So like he was just making them do unnecessary shit. And like in the Revenge of the Sith, when Darth Vader comes off the thing, he's like, no, you know. When he was originally like chained, his hands were by his head, but then George Lucas was like, I don't like that. So with CGI, he made him put his arms at his side, and then there's like a quick, really shitty cut where his arms come straight up. If you watch it,
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I disagree. I don't really mind him saying no. I know that's like a trope in movies, but I feel like with all that's happened and he saw what he finally became, like the dark side.
If it was in the original movie when they released it, I would not have a problem with it. But the fact that you feel the need to add it in freaking 30 years after is crazy.
With Revenge of the Sith, when he was, I don't mind just how he said no, like he was crying. In that moment, that's when he officially becomes Darth Vader.
No.
Why not just rage? Not scream no, but like a roar kind of thing.
He screams no, and then he like crushes a bunch of shit in the room, right?
No, I think he does that before he screams no.
He does.
Well, the thing is, I feel like the prequel is like Shakespearean in nature, how people act, so I didn't really mind it because it did feel like Shakespeare.
I'm not saying that him yelling no is bad. I don't really care. That's the least of those movies' problems.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, a lot of people have a gripe with that, and I never really cared. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. If it's fitting with all the other fucking acting in this movie. Especially with Hayden Christensen.
Dude, Hayden Christensen gets way too much hate.
I will go to bat for Hayden Christensen now.
He's a good actor. He's just the writing in those movies just isn't good.
Okay, we're spending more time on the daggone prequels than we are the sequels.
I mean specifically the dialogue. The dialogue is awful in those movies.
But let's be honest, the dialogue was awful, pretty awful in the original.
And George Lucas is like a terrible director, like of actors.
Like the only one that had...
He's a good director, he just doesn't know how to write dialogue for characters.
No. He's like apparently really bad with actors. Like he would like in Star Wars, like Mark Hamill would be like, "Oh, Luke, like what emotions do you want me to feel in this scene? How do you want me to play it?" And he was like, "Oh, you're basically Luke Skywalker, so you just whatever you feel is right." And it's like, dude, come on, really?
I feel like that worked out for the better. If you would have written it out That's like true. He did for Hayden Christensen, then we probably wouldn't have got like the iconic.
That's
Luke
why
Skywalker.
Empire Strikes Back is so great, because George Lucas had minimal amounts to do with it.
Right. Why don't we go to a quick ad break and then let's like get on topic to like whatever.
We can do a whole podcast of the prequels, man. I can talk. I'm just getting started with it.
We'll be right back. Hey there, are you enjoying the show so far? Epic. Why not smash that subscribe button so hard that your thumb resembles the color of it? Why stop there? If you want to become a super fan, don't hesitate to go down to our description box and click the support link. There, you can epically pledge $1, $5, or $10 monthly. Doing so will help us pump out content at a faster and more consistent rate. And we are back, and we're gonna be talking about the sequel trilogy, right, guys?
I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. So, anyways, Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, let's talk about Attack of the Clones.
Okay, I like Force Awakens. I think that it does. I don't think that it's original, and I don't think it's amazing. But I think considering everything it had to be to so many people and to like restart this franchise, I think it does a really good job. It does a better job than I thought it would do.
Yeah, I watched this in theaters back in 2015. Mm-hmm. I think it was like around Christmas time. I was like a 16-year-old lad, and I was kind of checked out Star Wars at that point, kind of. And I thought it was like an okay experience. Like I certainly didn't feel like I was cheated out of my money buying a ticket.
When I went to see it, I was like, I just saw Star Wars in theater. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was
It
fine.
had a similar vibe. It was good. Fun little adventure.
It was fine, but I felt like there was like too many nods, like callbacks to the old. That was my problems with it at the time. Like I just wanted something totally new. Then I was like, oh wait, Luke's in this. Oh, Han. Yeah, okay. That's fine, I guess. Star Wars for a new audience. That's how I saw it. That's how I still see it. And like, I don't know, like after I saw it, I wasn't upset or anything, but I was like, I'm probably not gonna see the last or whatever the next one's gonna be. And when that came out, I didn't see it until like a year later.
Did you see Rogue One in the theater?
No, that was the last Star Wars.
Rogue
I saw in
One
theaters.
was probably the best thing to come out of Disney Star Wars.
Yeah, I like Rogue One. I thought Rogue One was
I think
okay.
Rogue One's ending is really good. Like I think the whole fight on the beach and then all the Darth Vader stuff is great. But it's so like I don't know, it feels really long and slow up until then for me.
I'll say this: I thought the same thing until I watched it again, like a couple of days ago. I don't remember exactly when. I remember the first time I watched it. I've only seen it like twice. Once in theaters and once a couple of days ago.
I've seen it a couple times. So.
First time I saw it in the theater, I found the Forrest Whitaker stuff, the Saw Gerrera, all that crap, all that stuff. I found a little bit boring. Like this past time I watched it a couple of days ago, it was a lot more fast paced than I remember.
And I heard that the director, I forget who directed Rogue One, but he initially had the vision of like an actual war movie, like set in Star Wars. But Disney's like, no, you have to make it more lighthearted.
Yeah, well, they fired him, and it was being directed by somebody else. I can't remember his name either, but they kept him on like staff so that they could say
Gareth
that he
Edwards.
was directing it. Yeah, Gareth Edwards. There you go. So he like went to all like the press stuff and was like talking about the movie, but he was like not a part of it at all. But they just kept him on because they didn't want people to know that they had fired a director. Yeah, it's so dumb.
I hate Disney's rule over Star Wars. But yeah, like a rating. Are we done talking about Force Awakens? What rating would you guys give it if you are?
I would give it like a 7.5 out of 10.
Oh, I didn't know it was going freaking. I'll say I think they should have handled the reveal of Poe being alive a little better though.
Yeah, how did he just disappear?
Yeah, what happened? Where did he go?
I don't know.
Did he walk the other direction in the desert? I'm so like, did he what? I'm confused. Maybe I don't know. I never think about it until I'm rewatching it and that scene happens and I'm like, where did he go? Why did he leave his jacket?
Hey, dude, it's a mystery box. Get over it.
Yeah.
You'll find
And
out.
I do like I got a few notes on these movies. When the Star Killer base was destroying the planets, I thought it was a little bit better than how they did it in The New Hope, with a point of view of the citizens on the planet.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I mean, obviously, you couldn't do that back in the 70s, but you know.
I gave Force Awakens a 2.5 stars.
Really?
Yeah.
Out of
5.
Out of 5. Out of 5, I'd give it like a 3 or a 4. Probably 3.5, I guess.
So like 5, like it's an average movie for me. It's
I mean,
fine.
that little note plays into my little pitch of the whole freaking sequel trilogy.
Oh, I'm curious to hear it. But let's move on to talk about Last Jedi.
What, my whole pitch?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get through talking about them, and then I want to.
How about we talk about all the movies, and you can have your little pitch.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in that case,
I've had a little pitch in my head for how I wish that they had ended it. Even if I had to work with the original two, if I was given the third one, what I would do to try and tie it together.
You want to hear my pitch?
Absolutely. Don't do it.
I'd probably score Force Awakens. I really wish you would have told me to score it before I did it when we started this.
I mean, you should have a.
You don't have to score it
idea.
if you want to save it for your review of them or whatever for your video.
I think he's just ranking them, not necessarily rating them.
I mean, I could probably.
The rating might give it away.
A score. Yeah, you got a point there. Okay, yeah, no score.
My pitch is after the credits end on Return of the Jedi, just stop.
Yes, actually, I agree. If they had stopped with the original 3, it would have been a perfect little art piece, a perfect
But
little.
of course they're not, because it's such a big property and so
It
popular.
is.
Of course, companies are not
George
going to
Lucas
we could
is
stop.
a genius businessman. Yeah.
Which I get, but...
Dude, here's what I'm saying. If you want to make bank off of Star Wars, Disney, right? Here's what you do. Just release every version that George Lucas has done of the originals. Like, do the original cut, do the first time you messed with them, do the second time. Like, literally just release every different version. And nerds out there will buy 5 of each. Like, if you want to make bank, just make so many special editions and people will buy it. Put them in a fucking shitty tin, nerds will buy it.
Here's my thing. Have like 100 original copies of the original trilogy and sell them for like $1 million. And say it's the last one.
Just make like minute changes.
Yeah. And say it's the
This
last
time the
one.
Ewoks blink a little bit faster.
Yeah, I agree
This time
with you
Han's
there.
head actually goes invisible when he gets shot at. Just start doing just insane shit.
Just think about like the actual diehard fans of Star Wars. They hate the prequels and they definitely hate the sequel trilogies. So like,
See, I think that the average Star Wars fan nowadays loves the prequels, doesn't care about the originals, and hates the sequels. Because the majority of the fans these days are people who watched like the Clone Wars TV show, and so they think that they have a connection to
I
the
guess
prequels, and
so.
they're like, actually, the characters are really deep. If you watch the supplementary material, you'll realize that there's actually a lot of character development going off screen
if
in
you
an
hear the
animated TV
commentary-
show for kids.
I will say the Clone Wars did make me like prequels even more. I mean, I like the
See, that's what I mean.
prequels. I like the prequels to begin with, but the Clone Wars, I don't. There's a whole lot of story.
I just have to
There's-
take your word for it.
Yeah, I'm not
Because
gonna watch
there's
that shit.
a lot of stuff,
Sorry.
a lot of stuff that just the movies could. There wasn't enough time, especially dealing with the Clone Wars.
There was time. We could shave off Padme and Anakin riding like giant cow lice things in a field for actual plot.
They were falling in love.
We could
They
cut
were
off-
falling
we
in
could- we
love.
We could cut out Padme standing there in a shirt that lights up for 30 minutes talking about democracy for actual plot, you know? There's so much unnecessary stuff in those movies that's like someone should have told them. They should be like, "Oh, George, like you should cut around and you should like actually, I don't know, do something good."
I don't
I don't want to
know.
hate. Everyone's allowed to have their own opinions.
The prequels was like 4 stories going on. Like it was a story of Obi-Wan and Anakin's little partnership, or Anakin and Padme's relationship, the rise of Vader, and the rise of the Emperor and the Galactic Empire.
See, I hear people say that, and they're like, "See, they have to juggle so many things. It's a miracle that they're as good as they are." And I'm like, at any point, they could have been like, maybe we should drop some of these plot lines. Maybe some of them are unnecessary. Like, I think that if they had just stuck to that, the point of that trilogy was to watch Anakin become Darth Vader. If it was just that, I think that it probably would have been a lot better for me personally.
Boys, we're talking about the prequels again.
Yeah, we are. We got off topic again. Okay, Last Jedi.
Okay,
Jedi.
I say after we get.
Sorry.
Okay, I say we
have Star Wars opinions. Yeah.
I say after we get finished with this one, we could do like an hour podcast of the prequels.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so Star Wars pooped out. But okay.
Okay,
I
Last Jedi.
am a huge fan of The Last Jedi. I think for me, it's definitely the best of the sequels. And I just think that it's the first Star Wars thing that I had seen in a long time that like took it in a semi-new direction. And like had an original idea, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, I like it.
And like what they did with Luke's character arc,
Mhm.
I kind of liked. It was something different.
It's a
It's
very
kinda like-
competently put together movie. It's
It's kind of like Ryan speaking through Kylo Ren, like forget the past. To make
Yeah.
actual change, you just have to like move forward or whatever he said.
Mhm.
And I like that idea. Not
Always
that I'm
move
saying you
forward.
should totally disregard what happened before, but
you do have to
I
keep
mean,
going.
this-
You can't stop.
yeah. And then Rise of Skywalker's like, no, let's go back.
No,
Let's
fuck
have
that.
Emperor
Yeah.
Palpatine come back. Let's
Yo,
let
suck
that be.
on this, Mr. Johnson. Yeah.
Let's
How
let
about
that be Rey's granddad.
Dude.
What? And you remember when Kylo
I didn't even
Ren's
know
like,
he had a fucking kid.
yeah, you remember Kylo Ren's
Who's
like,
fucking that?
he's like, I've seen your parents or whatever. I know where you're from. I was like, ooh, what kind of dark bloodline does she have? But he's like, no, they're just drunkards that just sold you or whatever.
I really like that.
It's like he would have saw Emperor Palpatine at the time, but no.
I think that either he lied and he didn't actually see anything, or Snoke was not Snoke, Emperor Palpatine pretending to be Snoke.
There's just so many non sequiturs. It's like it's a mess, man. How these movies are connected, it's a total mess.
I love that in The Last Jedi she's not related to anyone, because I love the idea that anyone can be a hero. Anyone can be a hero if they need to be, right? And that's what's great about, and like that was what made A New Hope magical, was that anyone could be Luke Skywalker, right?
Right.
Like if you had,
but he did have like a magical bloodline.
That's true, but like. He in the original, until the end, he didn't do any Force shit. Like, he just had a lightsaber and a gun, and that was it.
And then Rey's like, I could do all this awesome shit for no reason from the get-go. It's like, oh my god, there's no growth to this character. I feel like she like diminished as the movies
they didn't know what to do with any of the characters.
Yeah, there was no direction
because they didn't plan
at
it.
all.
They should have.
Yeah.
They should have rented Kevin Feige for a weekend.
Yeah, had a blueprint planned out before they started production, what you normally do, but yeah, that didn't happen.
I know a lot of people that are like, the moment I knew The Last Jedi was going to be bad was when Luke Skywalker threw the lightsaber away. And I was like, really? That was when
that was kind of a dumb scene.
I mean, considering the fact that he was a little reluctant to train Rey, I mean, what do you expect him to do? He threw
dude, people who complain about Luke Skywalker, I love what they did with him. It's amazing. It's
the only two things that I did not like what they did with Luke. One is a minor thing. The other one is like I wouldn't really say a major thing, but I guess you could.
Is this in Last Jedi?
Yeah, Last Jedi. I guess three things. One, the drinking of the milk, which was the minor thing, just a little, just straight from the udder.
I liked it. It was just fine. It was whatever. Yeah, straight from the teat.
I don't like, you gonna get sick and all that kind of stuff.
Necessary scene because it led to. I mean, it showed how he survived on the island, I guess. Yeah. But you could have shown him just like catching fish instead of just suck tit milk from a.
They should have shown him. He should have just pulled out a gun and shot a pork.
Jeez.
And just eating it raw.
He's a caveman, man.
That's what he is.
Just got a big rock.
I did like how he was reluctant to train Rey and scared. Like, not really. He felt to blame for his nephew's turn. I didn't like how he went to go kill him like all of a sudden.
See, I love that.
It was like he wasn't trying to strike him down. Like, he realized his mistake.
He went through a trilogy of movies where he had to fight these Sith, and it was horrible and it was difficult. He almost died so many times. He had to go through all the shit to save the galaxy, right? And he sees it in his nephew, and for a split second he's like, I could end it right now. I could not have to go through that again. But then he's like, fuck, what am I doing? That's so dumb of me. But it was too late. The mistake had been made. It's genius.
And because of that, that's what really made Kylo become Kylo.
Yes, exactly. It's beautiful.
There had to be balance in the Force.
The one thing I do hate is them killing them off like that.
But yeah, but people, I always see videos where they're like, my Luke Skywalker would never kill a kid. And it's like, he wasn't going to kill a kid.
Yeah.
He thought about it for a split second, because we all have those temptations.
It shows some flaws in his characters,
It also shows that, like, even as a Jedi, even when you're like Master Yoda or Master Luke Skywalker or whatever, there's still that tempt to go to the dark side. Like, it's always there.
Yeah. It's just that balance in the Force, baby. My thing is that I have a issue with is Rey was sent out to find Luke, but he didn't want to be found. That's another thing. But he had the blueprint to find him if they ever needed him, but he doesn't want to help. And that was kind of dumb. Also, she knew the Resistance was in trouble, but she's like, you know what? I'm just going to chill here and train with Luke. Like, what? Like, if you can't.
What could she have done? If she had showed back up, what would she have done that would have helped?
I don't know. She could have found something different, but it's like all this time. It's just I'm just gonna train with Luke now. I mean, she showed that she's somewhat powerful, more powerful than Luke. The only thing Luke did to help, the only thing Luke did to help was just have a force projection enough time for them to escape.
Oh my god, I love that. Oh, I know a lot of people don't like that. I love that. That's how he died. That he literally did the force so good that he killed himself.
I don't have a problem with that. I'm just like, that's all Luke did, though. He could. I don't know. I guess Rey had to influence him to do that.
I did like the scene with
way.
him and, well, I guess it wouldn't be a reunion, but him and Leia.
Yeah, that was nice, and he handed her the dice.
But probably my main criticism of this movie,
I thought it was gay.
Snoke, his death. That's probably my main.
Yeah.
I think that if they had done something different going into Rise of Skywalker, I think that if it hadn't just been like, oh no, it was just Palpatine doing a clone thing, I think that if they had gone somewhere else, I don't think it would be a problem. Because I like when that movie ended, I was like, I have no idea where they're going to go with this, and I was so excited for the next one because I had liked The Last Jedi so much, but then when everyone started hating it, I was like, oh, they're gonna backtrack on everything.
I mean, for being one of the most supposed to be the most powerful Sith at that time, to be well, what's the phrase I'm looking for?
Duped.
You failed.
That easily.
I don't know. I like that. I thought that was a cool trick that Kylo Ren did.
I'll say I did like the throne room battle.
It was like he tricked him. He used his wit. You know, I don't know.
Have you guys seen the throne room battle, but like with a Pokemon theme song?
I haven't, but I've seen the throne battle a million times, but where people pause it and they're like,
man.
look, they wouldn't have hit there. Look, this stunt double's just not even moving in the background.
I don't care about that.
In the prequels, they choreographed everything. If you go back and look at the prequels, you can find spots where you're like, look, they weren't even swinging at the person. Like even in the Darth Maul fight, which is probably the best part of Phantom Menace. I think we can all agree. The Darth Maul fight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so that score, it's amazing. It's choreographed great. It's really epic.
There's nothing really epic in the sequel trilogy now that I think about it. Like,
but
really
in the choreography, you can tell there are parts where like when Darth Maul swings, it was already above Obi-Wan's head. Like he was already not going to hit him. And then he like dodges or something.
See, I'll be honest, that kind of thing doesn't really bother me all that much.
It doesn't bother me either, and I wouldn't bring it up except that people bring it up as a criticism against The Last Jedi, but it could be used as a criticism for any of the movies. Like
what, one of the Imperial Guards in like the very background?
Yeah, they're like, oh look, this guy, this Imperial Guard in the background is like doing a little sidestep instead of actually coming in to attack Rey, and it's like, yeah, it's a movie. They're not actually fighting.
Did Joe Rogan commentate over that?
Dude, a-holes that hate Last Jedi and want to just
all the
talk
really
shit about
focus
it and say how it ruins Star Wars
is on Rey and Kylo at that point. At least with me.
I remember when I saw it in the theater, it was awesome. I was like, this is amazing. It's a great little fight.
Yeah, that's cool.
At that point, you're just nitpicking, but you know.
That is true.
I think I'm done talking about Last Jedi because you guys. I like some of the themes that introduced, and it's like, well, Rey's so powerful.
Phasma's death.
Yeah. I like Rey's so powerful at this point. I don't really care where she comes from. Oh, she's a nobody. That's pretty cool. That kind of makes sense.
That makes it better. Yeah, because everyone was like, "Oh, she's Obi-Wan's daughter. Oh, she's this person's daughter. Oh, she's this, she's that." And so it's great that they were just like, "She's nobody." It's like how the universe just needed an Anakin, right, to bring balance to the Force. Which I know it was Emperor Palpatine, but it was the Force using Emperor Palpatine to whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the same thing with Rey. The universe was like, we need someone to come and balance it. Sick. And
yeah,
so
and she's the new Jedi without having any ties with.
Which also explains why she's so powerful, because it's like the universe made her, and it made her as powerful as she needed to be. It's a great way to explain that away, I think.
And she's a shitty character.
It's a lazy way, but it works.
I'd rather have that than.
She's a Palpatine.
Yeah.
Just so dumb.
That ruined it for me.
I was gonna say, I really like the cave sequence where she's looking at the mirrors of herself. I think that's
that was cool.
A really good visually very interesting.
Yeah, that's Ryan Johnson has some really good visual imagery.
The scene where they turn the ship around and light speed through the other ship.
Oh yeah, the purple haired
great.
lady.
The music, all sound drops out for a second.
Yeah, that was
so
cool.
good.
Yeah, like I said, Ryan Johnson's a good director. I don't really think JJ's all that good of a director.
I think he's really good at emulating someone else's style.
Yeah,
like that first Star Trek movie is good because he was emulating.
I think he's good at making.
Stuff.
I think he's good at making things not making sense make sense because the pacing of the scene goes by so fast you don't really think about it. That's what I think he executes very well. It's like, that doesn't make sense, but it's quick, so it's fine. Yeah, it's visually entertaining at the moment. But yeah, Ryan Johnson.
Look at this. Like he just he directs your attention so you don't have time to think about it.
Yeah, that's what it was like in Rise of Skywalker. It's like, wait, they're on this desert planet. And then I blink my eyes and they're on this ice planet. And I'm like, wait, what happened? How did this connect? I forgot.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like Last Jedi. I do think it's it has. I don't think it's perfect. I don't think any movie is perfect, but I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people think.
I give Last Jedi a 3 stars, which is like a 6 out of 10.
There's a couple movies I'd say it's perfect.
I'm gonna give mine 3.5 out of 5. I think that's also what I gave Force Awakens. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5. That's how much I like it.
Jesus, that's close to perfect.
Yep, it's pretty close. I think in my mind, I really like it. I mean, it's the only Star Wars poster I have on my wall is the Last Jedi.
I respect it, brother. I respect it.
It's the only one of the sequels that I will defend.
I will say this: it's the only
one.
It's the only one people will be talking about years later.
It's true.
Than the other ones,
dude. Especially whenever Rise of Skywalker was coming out, people were making so many videos about why the Last Jedi sucks and all this stuff. And for some reason, YouTube kept recommending it to me, and it took a real drain on my mental health. Just that every day I would come on YouTube and it'd just be like, this thing that you like fucking sucks, and I was just like, I don't want this.
They know how I feel about the prequels.
You could
I feel like nowadays it's more common to like the prequels. All of my friends will defend the prequels and then hate on me for liking Last Jedi.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. There's certainly been a resurgence of fondness for the prequels out of not thin air. I guess it was due in part with the sequel trilogy, but
I think that it was just a bunch of people liked them, but nobody was talking about it because Star Wars wasn't happening. And then once it started happening, it opened up the conversation. And
it's kind of like people who listen to metal, but they secretly listen to Katy Perry as well. They're just afraid to show it until they're in a friend group. It's like, Katy Perry's pretty dope. It's like, okay, yeah. It's kind of like that. They become more accepted. Not necessarily people's viewpoints turned around, but it just became more accepted. And everyone's like, yeah, actually, I did like those quite a bit.
Man, I'm just trying to think of movies that I actually like.
I've had the same stance. Yeah, I've had the same stance the entire time. I've always sort of liked them. And that's it. No one's gonna change my stance.
I'm not somebody that's like, oh, I wish they'd never been made. I don't care.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I mean, I grew up with both trilogies, but I do remember watching the prequels more so than the original. But I still
the only one I had on DVD was Empire Strikes Back, so I would just watch that on loop.
I had the whole 2 trilogies on VHS.
All I'll say is Empire Strikes Back is not my favorite.
Really?
It's not my number 1.
Earlier, I said that I don't think any movie is perfect, but I think that if there is a movie that is perfect, I think that Empire Strikes Back is it. I think that it has
a lot of people disagree with me
plot-wise. I think that it is. You're gonna disagree?
No, I just said I think a lot of people disagree with me because I like Return of the Jedi the most.
I like Return of the Jedi too. Especially, dude, the Jabba the Hutt stuff is amazing, and then all the stuff with Luke in the throne room is great.
Yeah, I love it.
I don't really care about
it. Shows Luke as a badass. I like him growing as a character, but you get to finally see him in his full form, so to speak.
All I'll say is I'm glad I rewatched all of them before I did a little ranking video. I mean, I like Return of the Jedi, but I love it even more after rewatching it. Rewatching all of them.
That original trilogy, all 3 of those movies, all are great. They all have their own
Yeah,
qualities. Yeah.
something great about him. Yeah, I completely agree with you.
I'm not gonna say which one is my least favorite or my favorite, but yeah.
I think most people's least favorite of the original is A New Hope.
Mine is Empire.
Really? Okay.
Personally, yeah. I still love it. Like, I still give it like a 4.
Like if you were to
stars.
rewatch one, that would be the bottom
Yeah,
of the list.
if
That's fair.
the one I go back to most is Return of the Jedi because it's just so.
Return of the Jedi
visually
is easy to go back
striking.
to. It's a great little.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome. A New Hope's a little slow at first, but that's to be expected to build up your story and characters.
A New Hope gets points because it's just like we literally no one had ever seen anything like this.
Yeah, it
before.
started
Like,
this awesome
yeah.
legacy. Yeah, you gotta respect it in that regard. And then like Empire perfected that formula, and I feel
Yeah.
like Return of the Jedi was like
I don't
it
know,
was. I feel like it was the most competent in terms of pacing and style and.
Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna disagree a little bit on that one. I think I don't know. The whole opening is kind of disconnected from the rest of the movie because it's just like they're just like, oh shit, we have to get Han back. So like, well, I guess we should write a little scene where they go and get Han back.
Yeah.
But then like that has nothing to do with the rest of the plot. Like it never comes back or anything.
Anything else on Last of the Jedi or?
No, I was just
Uh,
trying to
Last
find
of the
Oh,
a,
yeah, that's it.
I was just-
Rise of Skywalker.
I was just trying to find a movie that
I don't hate it. I
I
don't hate
like-
Rise of Skywalker as much as everybody else does. I don't like it. But
I hate it. I actually hate it.
I think I don't know. It's fun. It for me personally, it moves like you were saying. J.J. Abrams is good at making it go fast. So like, if I could just switch off my brain, just enjoy the pretty lights, it's fun. You know.
I don't like it. I don't think any of the jokes land. I think they're out of place. I think there's a lot
can't
of
even
non
think of a joke.
sequiturs that doesn't make sense. There's a lot of plot holes. Nothing interesting happens with the characters. Finn is not a character. Like there's just so much shit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree, but I think that it was just because going in, I liked Last Jedi so much, and I just knew that everyone hated it, so it was gonna be. I had such low expectations when I went to go see it in the theater that when it was like
That makes sense.
passable, I was like, "This is fine."
Yeah, I feel like part of my integrity has been stripped because I was kind of swore I'd never see Return of whatever it's called, Rise of Skywalker. Sorry, I don't know why I have brain stew this morning. But
I'll say there's 4 things about this movie. There's only 4 pros versus how many cons did I write down with this movie?
70.
Yeah, about that. There's like 4 pros I could come up with.
Mm-hmm.
One being
Let's hear
Leia.
it.
I thought they handled Carrie Fisher pretty well.
I agree. Yeah.
I disagree.
Kylo's turn, how he turned because of Leia, that was like his. That was the one.
I was gonna say that moment where they're fighting on the falling down Death Star, and she like is dying, and she communicates with him, and he stops, and he gets like stabbed, and then Rey like realizes that she just like broke the last connection with his mother before she died, and like just that like silence for a moment is like, I don't know, that was like powerful to me in the theater. It was like, I don't know, that was like one of the good things in it.
Yeah, so I think they handled Kylo Ren's turn to the light. With him,
That little conversation he has with Han,
yeah, with
is
Han.
amazing.
This one's a little bit
good.
minor, but just is like a feel good moment when Chewbacca finally gets his little medal. Call back to the original.
Dude, that was so funny. People that actually complain about that, it's not
complained about
because
that?
they didn't. No, fans have always been like, "Why didn't Chewbacca get a medal? That's so stupid." It's like it's because they only had 2 props. They did not have
He's
a third prop to give to Chewbacca.
He's a fucking dog.
Yeah,
I don't really. I'm not one of those people that like up and riot in the street kind of thing, but it's just like a feel good moment, I guess.
Yeah.
And this one,
Man, he didn't really do shit. He just got captured. He didn't even fight when he got captured.
it's not
retarded.
the execution, not the execution, but the idea of Palpatine's return I liked.
I don't.
I think
at
that
all.
was always the plan.
No.
I don't
I read
know
the
about that
original.
one.
I read the original script that they were going to go with, and I'm pretty sure Palpatine came back. Yeah, it was still the plot was still basically they were trying to hunt down Palpatine. Do you guys know what the original title for the movie was supposed to be? Because it's a million times better than Rise of Skywalker.
What was it?
Piece of shit.
It's called Dueling Fates. Or Duel of the Fates, whatever the song is called.
Duel of the Fates from Phantom Menace.
Yeah, Duel of the Fates, yeah. That's a great title.
It would have been better than Rise of Skywalker.
It would have been. Rise of Skywalker sucks. It's a terrible title.
I mean, there was really no conclusion.
Yeah.
Well, the only
There
was
Skywalker
no
was
conclusion. I
Original
feel
Sith,
like-
Return of the Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. I know what they're doing, but it doesn't work.
I feel like, of course they wouldn't do it, but I feel like it would have been awesome. Not awesome, but better for me if it was just a duology than a trilogy. Of course they're not going to do that, but what more got resolved that wasn't in Last Jedi?
The Last Jedi kind of, it felt like the end a little bit, which is why I was excited, because I was like, I have no idea where they're going to go.
Yeah, exactly. Which in that regard, Ryan kind of fucked it up, because it's like, dude, you concluded a bunch of
All
shit.
right, now, hold on.
Sorry.
Before we go fully into the crap pile of this movie, either of y'all got anything good to say about this movie?
The fight, the fight where Rey is in Kylo Ren's room and Kylo Ren is on the planet, and it's like the camera's spinning around them and it's switching between the two rooms while they're fighting. I think that was like amazing. I was like, this is so fun. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
It was good. I like the look of the movie, especially that like war-torn. It looked like Germany during World War II. That planet they go to. I think it looks great. All that stuff's good. You guys don't agree?
I didn't even think about that, to be honest with you.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure to see Billy D. Williams again.
No.
Here's the thing.
I mean, I don't think he's used well, but it was like when he showed up, I was like, Billy D. Williams.
Here's the thing.
I like Billy D.
I
Williams.
I don't know how
Paycheck.
I'm gonna be responded. I don't know how you guys are gonna respond to this one. I'm not that big a fan of Lando. I will
fair.
say I liked him. I didn't really care for him in Empire. I liked him in Jedi. I loved Donald Glover as Lando in Solo.
That was the best part of Solo, was Donald Glover's impression or whatever.
But
he
I still have
captured
to
the
see
spirit
that.
perfectly.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
altogether,
I
I'm not that big a fan of
I
Lando.
want to see Solo.
That's fair. It's weird to me that they just gave Lando like Han Solo's role in Return of the Jedi. They were like, actually, no, you fly the Millennium Falcon.
The last two original cast is like not the last two I want. Chewbacca and Lando. Why is that the last remaining?
I wish that they had kept Luke and Han alive.
At least
I wish
Han.
those
I
were
think
the
Luke
last
could have
two.
died, but I wish Han at least.
Well, I
He-
think that Luke and Han, because then they could both like be buds, because they both loved Leia, you know?
I don't know how you guys are gonna react to my pitch then.
Okay. If you want like a
Brimstone
genuine positive from me, they fly now. I thought it was a
They fly
Funny.
now.
no, but seriously, the conversation where Kylo Ren has Han as a memory.
It's good.
Yeah, that's like the only.
When that happened in the theater, I was like, this is
standout.
kind of beautiful.
Yes, that's the only standout thing to me. But yeah, I give Rise of the Skywalker a 1 star.
Oh, wait, hold
Are
on.
we
Okay,
not going?
so-
Are we not going to talk about the Chewbacca's little fake out?
Oh my god,
Or-
that's oh my dude. It was not even 30 seconds after he died. They showed us a shot of them being like, we captured Chewbacca. And it's like,
Yeah.
this is the worst.
see-
It's like, what are you even doing?
Oh, I may even say even worse than the Chewbacca fake out death. The C-3PO memory gets wiped, and like 10 minutes later, his memory gets restored.
It's so dumb.
And nobody cares about him.
I think that's a terrible way to kill Chewbacca. But if you're gonna do it, fucking leave him dead. Don't make it a fake out. That's so dumb. And then yeah, the C-3PO thing is stupid.
Or how they handled Hux.
I'm not a huge fan of C-3PO, but like nobody cared what happened to him, even when he was like, "Last time I'm looking at my friends."
Yeah, no, if
and
they'd
don't
like
care.
left him on a planet somewhere in the original, I'd have been like, that's fine.
I will say that moment when he was talking about how he's taking one last look at his friends, I didn't cry, but it was a little emotional.
That was fucking stupid.
I guess it was done well, but it felt so forced.
But
It felt forced.
it kinda
he
lost
didn't
it.
feel sad when any of the original cast passed away. It's just like I don't know. I guess he's been with that crew for a year now. I guess you could kind of see.
Yeah,
But
that's the other
they've
thing.
always-
In this movie, they're acting like everyone's been buddy-buddy the whole time.
Yeah,
It's
they
like,
treated him like
Rey
shit the
didn't
entire...
meet Poe until the end of Last Jedi.
Yeah.
that's a good point.
But to be fair, I think Force Awakens and Last Jedi happened in like the span of a week, whereas Return of
Well, yeah, Last Jedi literally
the
starts
Rise of
the
Skywalker is
second
like a
Force
year
Awakens ends, yeah.
later. Yeah,
That's
but
true.
they treated C-3PO like shit the entire trilogy, so I don't know why he's so
They treated C-3PO like
sentimental.
shit the whole
Yeah.
saga.
I'm about to say he.
Well, I mean,
He
you
just gets
could-
clowned
yeah,
on the whole time. Like in Attack of the Clones when he gets his head on a droid.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
I will say that was kind of funny when he was saying "Die Jedi, die."
one star.
Vince. 1 star. Okay, I'm gonna give it 2 stars.
Ray just being
That's
way
fair.
too overpowered, also in this movie.
Before you get into your pitch for the whole thing, I had a pitch for Rise of Skywalker. It isn't like a full-blown pitch. It's just I think that because the original trilogy, you think that it's the struggle of light and dark in Luke Skywalker, but really it's the struggle in Anakin, right? So it's like you think that your villain will like not turn evil, and you think that the problem is that your good guy might turn evil, but then in the end, the bad guy that you think wouldn't turn good turns good. So I think that it would have been genius that in this one, you think that it's Rey trying to pull Kylo Ren to the light, but then at the end, Rey should have gotten pulled to the dark, and then you end it with the good guys on top, and then that way, in 10 years, when you decide to do another one, you have 2 villains that people know of, you know? You have 2 Force like villains that people like. And then it's also good because like the prequels end with the bad guys winning. The originals end with the good guys winning. The sequel should end with the bad guys winning. That way the next sequel can end with the good guys winning. And that way it's like a back and
That's
forth.
just gonna be a perpetual cycle. Like we've already seen.
Well,
this
yeah, but
dynamic
that's what it is, right? Isn't that the point? Is that
Yeah.
it's, the universe is constantly balancing the light and the dark, up and down, up and down.
Yeah, that's why you should just end it. But yeah,
I don't disagree, but if you want money,
but yeah, I kind of see what you're saying. Like it would have been more interesting if like
Yeah.
Rey went full dark and Kylo went good, and then like
Yeah.
the next conflict is Kylo trying to turn Rey back to the good. I think that would have been tons more interesting. But
Yep. you could have Kylo training the next Rey and whoever.
yeah, in regard to or like him coming to terms with Luke and forgiveness and having a new Jedi temple. Yeah, there's a lot of things that could have been a lot fleshed out, and
More interesting,
yeah. Like the
Dude,
conclusion of this is
I'm
total
genuinely so
dog
pissed
shit.
that they killed Kylo Ren. Yeah, he's the
Yeah.
best part of those movies.
Yeah, the conclusion is total dog shit. Like she's in the middle of Tatooine burying the lightsabers,
Oh my
and
god.
this is like this nomad comes out of nowhere. Who are
I
you?
don't have a problem with her burying it, but why did she say Rey Skywalker?
Yeah, you're not Skywalker, bitch.
Yeah.
Or
Should've,
Rey
like,
Solo
nobody.
because that's like the closest father figure she had, and also she absorbed Ben Solo, so like he's a part of her in some way. So that would have been more fitting, like a Rey Solo. And plus, didn't Han Solo get his name because he was alone in Solo, the Star Wars story?
Oh my
So-
god, I forgot. That's so dumb.
So like it
They're
would have
like-
been
they're
more
like,
fitting.
Who are you with? And he's like, nobody. And he's like, Solo. And then it cuts to credits. It's so dumb. I
I think that
some
would've
of
been more
Solo
fitting,
I
though.
like. Some of Solo I don't like.
It was.
I honestly wish it wasn't Han Solo. I wish it was just a random character in Star Wars.
It was
think it would've worked
like
better.
a Fast and the Furious kind of movie, like just a fun action popcorn
Yeah.
blockbuster.
Popcorn summer movie.
Anyway, Joseph, what's your not theory but
Yeah,
rewriting of the script?
Yeah, I'm excited. to
Your
hear it.
reimagining.
So
directed
I'm
by
not.
Joseph Mash.
This is basically I'm just going to talk about how like the similarities and the differences I would have personally done. Because I don't have like I didn't like fully write a daggone 500-page script for every daggone movie. Basically how I probably would have done it. There would have been 3 little battles, probably in The Force Awakens. Kylo versus Rey, Finn versus Phasma, Poe versus Hux. Because those are 6 original characters for the sequel trilogy to get everybody. Force Awakens, pretty much the exact same movie with those 3 battles. Probably one difference that Kylo doesn't remove his mask at all. Maybe exception being when he killed Han Solo. Maybe that could be the exception, but he doesn't remove it when he was talking to Rey. He doesn't remove it. He has the mask when he's in the forest fighting Rey and Finn. So that's Force Awakens. Last Jedi, this is where it really gets a little different. I don't know how I want to go about saying it. Probably start with just the similarities. The things I would keep: Luke's entrance to throwing away the lightsaber, and Kylo Ren tells Rey that her parents are nobodies. The differences: Rey doesn't tell Luke that she's from Jakku. Luke teaches Rey the concept of force healing after losing his best friend Han Solo. After finding out that Han Solo dies, and Luke, having read all those texts, knows about the concept of force healing, so it doesn't come out of nowhere from in The Rise of Skywalker how the crap Rey learned the force heal.
They introduced that idea of force healing in the episode of The Mandalorian that came out directly before the release of Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I
so
hated the
funny.
force healing.
Yeah, it's so dumb. Oh, a positive for Rise of Skywalker I just thought of. Sorry, because Snoke was like linking them mentally in The Last Jedi, so they could like communicate or whatever. I like that in The Rise of Skywalker they build on that, so it's like Kylo Ren's kind of been trying to learn how that power works, and so now it's like evolved to where they can actually like touch each other while they're doing that. You know what I mean? I like that. You don't like that?
Huh? No. Yeah, I do like it. Just talking to myself real quick.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, you're good. Just trying to do that crap. So Luke teaches Rey the concept of force healing. Finn and Rose don't become a couple. They become good friends, but they don't become a thing. Luke doesn't die. Hux isn't treated like a joke. Snoke doesn't die, but it is shown like in person rather than the projection like he was in Force Awakens. But Kylo becomes aware of Rey's true parents.
Are we made aware of who her true parents are at this point? The audience, or is it just that Kylo Ren knows?
Just Kylo.
Okay.
This is one I forgot about this one. We were talking about the negatives about Rise of Skywalker. Star Trek, Star Wars crossover. How'd you know?
Who would mate with the Emperor?
And that's another thing. Like,
Yo,
how
me?
I was talking about. Oh dear Lord! Hey, better you than me.
Your forehead looks like butt cheeks.
Gonna get that
That was
sheep. You know what I'm saying, bro? His name's Sheev Palpatine, for those that don't know. That's his real canonical name.
Sheev.
Sheev Palpatine.
I mean, it's how he was able to create life. Like I was talking about how he was essentially supposed to create Anakin. He created Rey.
Yeah, they should have made that, yeah. But this time he did it intentionally, because Anakin was like an accident, right?
Honestly, I don't know about that one. And I'm not gonna say yes or no because I don't know. But this is another thing that was a negative about Rise of Skywalker is when Rey is confronting Palpatine, Kylo or Ben Solo at this time was confronted by his Knights of Ren, who it's alluded to that the Knights of Ren were the students that left the Jedi training
Temple.
school, Jedi Temple,
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were supposed to be force sensitive.
Yeah, but they
don't use any force in the movie.
Underdeveloped.
Yeah.
And Last Jedi, they should have developed them a whole lot more. So I would develop the Knights of Ren. I wouldn't kill Phasma, but seriously injure Finn, even more so than Finn was at the end of that battle in Force Awakens. And this is where Luke, I don't know, I go back and forth. Luke or Rey force heals Finn, and Finn and Rey actually started really become a couple in this movie. And if you want Poe and Rose become a couple, develop a relationship.
You mean from The Last Jedi, not The Force Awakens?
What'd I say? Wait, what?
The Force Awakens.
What do you mean?
He said he was badly injured at the end of Force Awakens.
Yeah.
I assume you mean The Last Jedi.
No, he was badly injured in Force Awakens.
Wait, who are we talking about? Who was badly injured?
Finn.
When
Kylo...
Yes, he got cut up the back at the end of Force Awakens.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And then remember, because then Last Jedi opens and he's in that tube thing, the vat.
He says, Rey!
Where's Rey?
I remember that.
I don't know now. So I had wrote down no casino planet, but now that we talked about it a little bit, I don't know if I would.
Well, they needed to find a code breaker.
I like that plot line a little bit. I don't like them running through the casino on the horses.
I thought that was kind of cool.
I think it could have been short.
It's like that's something that I'm like. It's a kids movie. They needed a little action set piece to keep the kids engaged.
Yeah.
I don't care. It doesn't ruin anything. It doesn't
stop
the flow. I like Benicio del Toro in it. The hacker they get.
Yeah,
he's great.
He's cool.
Keep interrupting you. You keep reminding me of things in the movies, and I'm
Let's
like,
talk
actually,
about
I
the
like that
prequels
part.
now.
I'm just going back and forth with. Yeah, the more I think about it, I wouldn't really remove the casino planet. I probably would make it a little bit shorter.
I don't think it needs the aspect where she's like explaining to Finn that the kids on this planet are slaves. You know that part? She's like, yeah, I grew up on a planet like this and they're slaves, and it's like he was forced into being a stormtrooper. I think he would know better. Yeah.
I don't know. I could live without that little change. So yeah, I would probably keep the casino stuff. Alright, that was probably all that I would change about The Last Jedi Rise of Skywalker. Now, how much time y'all got? Let's stay with the similarities. Similarities, the Kylo's turn to the good side, which I think was handled perfectly. How they handled Carrie Fisher, perfectly. The Emperor returning, that idea I do like. And General Hux, how they revealed him to be a spy. The concept of him being a spy, I like. The execution, and how they handled him afterwards, awful. I mean, I like that idea of him working for the Empire, but at the same time, he turns to be, because in Last Jedi, he was mistreated by Kylo severely on that daggone at the end of that.
They like pull apart the lightsaber and Rey and Kylo Ren like get knocked out or whatever. Hux like is standing there and Kylo Ren's knocked out on the floor, and you see Hux go to pull out his pistol like he's gonna shoot him, but then he wakes up. I love that. I love that little moment.
Yeah, and that could have been played out the same way, but in another light where he was a rebel, but he was gonna kill Kylo, but he woke up, so he had to go back in the cover. So I mean, that idea. But like, it's like either of y'all seen Schindler's List?
Yeah,
it's kind of like how Oscar Schindler at the face was a Nazi, but at the same time he was saving Jews.
Yeah, he was helping out the Jewish people. Yeah.
So that's like how I would.
I like that. I like that element.
Kind of.
It's so funny to me that his whole reason is that he's literally just like, I hate Kylo Ren so much.
Yeah.
That I don't care if I win or lose. I just want him to lose.
Oh, weird.
So, what a bizarre motivation.
Yeah, it's pretty convoluted.
And the differences. So
one of the few characters to survive getting shot. Fun fact, one of the few in Star Wars.
who?
A Hux. Because usually it's just like you get hit with a laser and then you're dead. But remember, they like shoot him in the arm.
Yeah.
The leg.
And then they kill him like 2 scenes later. But
Yeah, they blast him in the tummy. But at first he got shot by
Yeah, I forgot he had.
in the leg or something.
it was either Poe or Finn.
He didn't shoot himself.
No, he handed it to him and he was like, you need to shoot me so that it looks believable that like you broke in here and stole all this shit. And he's like, shoot me in the arm. And I think he shoots him somewhere else. He's like, what the fuck? And he's like, I want to make it look believable. He's like, I still fucking hate you or something like that. Runs away.
Daggone, it's just forgettable altogether.
Yeah.
But the differences. Oh man. So this entire time, Luke and The Force Awakens, it ends the same way. Luke being, Rey finding Luke and all that kind of thing ends the exact same way. In Last Jedi, he does not ignite a lightsaber at all. Rise of Skywalker, the final movie, is when he actually ignites a lightsaber for the first time. Okay, I'll come back to that one because that's probably going to be the last one I talk about. There's no fake out with Chewbacca. Either kill him or don't. Personally, I wouldn't, but either way, do it, commit or don't. C-3PO doesn't get his memory back to add a lot more weight to that scene before it gets ruined.
There has to be lasting consequences.
Exactly. Finn and Rey officially become a couple at the end of it. Poe and Rose officially become a couple. I don't know how I want to.
Romantic.
Which one do I? Because there's 2 more little differences that I would have made. I'll probably go with that one first. I don't know how Luke would figure this out, but have Luke reveal to Rey that he's her father. Kind of mirroring the Darth Vader, I'm your father, but also if they were to go with Rey Skywalker, it would make sense that she would be a Skywalker.
That's fair.
So I would have Luke reveal.
Who's the mama?
I think what's her name? I know Luke had a little.
Don't say Leia.
No. Oh man, this ain't Game of Thrones.
If only.
I can't remember. Because Luke has I don't remember if it's a girlfriend or a wife. I can't remember her name. I think it's Mara Jade or something.
Yeah, I'm sure he's fucking, yeah.
I mean, if the Emperor's fucking, then yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I say that, but that's fine. It's fine if we don't know who the mom is, because deadass, we don't know who Rey's parents are. Like, we know who her grandpa is.
I mean,
no idea.
It kind of shows her parents.
Yeah, but like, who the fuck is that? Like when that scene happened, I was like, who is this?
It's the Emperor's son. I don't know.
Yeah.
Daughter. One of the 2.
And the last difference.
Yeah, is it the mom or the dad who are Palpatine? Does the movie ever tell us?
It's a mystery box, man.
It is.
Wait, is it the granddaughter or the daughter of Palpatine?
She's the granddaughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought she was the daughter.
Nope.
No.
Granddaughter. Maybe
that's even
it's a
dumber
clone of Palpatine? Because he has a bunch of clones? Maybe?
Oh no, I just
disagree. It's stupid.
Okay, it kind of
doesn't matter. They didn't think about it. We've thought about it harder right now than they did the entire time they were making the movie.
Exactly.
Does not make any sense
like
whatsoever.
People buy tickets and eat their popcorn.
Oh man. I mean, the last change I would do, last couple of changes, I suppose. Kylo Ren versus Knights of Ren. Kind of like how they did in the movie, but a little bit more
setup.
Yeah, a lot more setup.
Yeah.
And cut between that battle, and the battle between Luke, who finally ignites his lightsaber after many years, fights alongside his daughter Rey. They team up against Snoke and Palpatine.
I'm gonna pitch my evil producer that just wants money pitch. What if Emperor Palpatine makes an evil clone of young Luke Skywalker, and then Rey and evil young Luke Skywalker have to fight?
Oh, dear Lord.
What about that?
No. No.
I don't know. Could be pretty fun.
Better than the fight we did get.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah. Oh man, he's like shooting lightning at her, and she's blocking it with one, and she's like, oh, and then she pulls up a second one, and now it's easier. Doesn't make it any more powerful. It's just too
It's
light.
way too overpowered.
Yeah.
I forget, what was it explained, because Luke's lightsaber broke in The Last Jedi.
They
but
just
it's
fix
like,
it, and it's just like a little bit longer.
Okay.
I think the original plan was to give her a whole new lightsaber, but again, everyone hated Last Jedi, so they're like, "Oh, we'll just fix it. It's a regular lightsaber now."
Okay.
They should have given her a staff lightsaber. That was because she uses a staff on Jakku.
Kind of like a Darth Maul situation.
Maul style.
Yeah, it's a perfect. Yeah, it could just be like a Darth Maul situation, but it's like a really long middle.
Yeah. That's cool.
It would have been.
I mean, she did get her own at the end.
She did, and if you look, it's actually the tip of her staff. So maybe it screws on the top of it. Who knows?
But yeah, that would be how our little
Her lightsaber looked dumb.
ideas
though.
of the sequel trilogy.
Disney, I hope you're listening.
I don't know how you.
You have my number, Disney.
I don't know how you guys feel about that one. If
I'm waiting.
it's better or worse, I don't know.
I mean, anything would be better than what we got.
Honestly, anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
I accept any sort of.
Bro, I know I said it earlier, but I'm not joking. When he shot the lightning in the air, I laughed for like 10 minutes straight. I could not stop laughing until the end of the movie. I thought it was so stupid that it was hilarious.
Did people shush you?
No, because it was so loud, because it was just lasers for 45 minutes. And then there's the part where they land a ship on another ship, and they have horses, and they're riding on the ship with the horses.
Yeah. They could have slightly, I saw that. It's like, they could have slightly turned their ship sideways.
Yeah, they're like, disable their ships. They're like, there aren't any ships. It was just shoot the horses. Or it's a ship. Just tilts it like 40 degrees to the left. Just like make them slide off.
Oh
man, what are you doing?
God Almighty! They talked about that.
They need to get away. They need to get away from Death Star shit. I'm so sick of everything being it's a Death Star laser.
They talked about that
the
little
end battle is that they put Death Star lasers on all the ships. It's so dumb.
And plus, didn't the Death Star get blown up in Force Awakens? How are they still?
I don't. This thing doesn't work. This thing has worked worked 3 times.
Who are the people working for Palpatine on this planet? Where did they come from? What did they eat? What did they do in their free time? Who were the people in the stadium, in the arena?
I need answers, damn it.
Who?
They were on that Sith planet, whatever it's called.
Xenu?
Something.
But they had that documentary I was talking about earlier. They had talked about the daggum thought process behind the reason why they wanted to do the daggum horses on that. They wanted a battle in Star Wars where there was a horse charge. That was the thought process. They wanted like a Braveheart in space.
You could have done that. You could have set the ending of Last Jedi on a forest planet.
Exactly.
Horses, and you could have had like the Ewoks versus the Stormtroopers. You could have the Stormtroopers coming in, and then our heroes have to use. They're riding on horses, like fucking Avatar.
Like they can breathe in space all of a sudden.
Yeah, I guess they were in the atmosphere of that planet of Xenu.
Did you guys find it epic that Rey says, "And I'm all the Jedi"?
You You want to talk about laughable?
It's so bad. It's so bad.
I will say I do like that they got like Sam Jackson, Hayden Christensen, Liam Neeson.
Yeah, to do voiceover stuff.
Ewan McGregor.
When that happened, I was like, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
I was like, oh, nostalgia bait, awesome.
It's so funny to me whenever there are like similarities, even in the prequels, when there are like similarities to the originals, but it's like they blow it out of proportion. Like, cause like in the original, you know, we get like a little glimmer of Obi-Wan off in the distance of Empire, and he's like, "Oh, did they go by?" Or like at the end of A New Hope when he's like, "Use the Force, Luke," and it's like a one little line or whatever, you know, a little inkling from the Force. But in this one, it's just them being like, "Hey Ray, fight! You got it. Go get him. You can do it."
Rise.
For like 5 minutes. Yeah. This will be the final order of Skywalker. Boom. Yeah. Palpatine's just kind of zapping Darth Vader a little bit in Return of the Jedi, but in this one he's fucking taking down entire planes. So he's just a Death Star. It's so good.
So like if you know, he says the Sith use methods that are deemed unnatural or whatever. If he could just come back to life, what stops him from coming back alive to life again after they
It won't. He'll be the villain of the next trilogy as well.
probably at the very end.
You
Oh,
think he
plot
won't?
twist, he's back.
Guys,
Yeah.
look at Sheev.
Yeah, fuck this movie.
Everyone look out, Sheev's coming to get you.
He's like the creeper from Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found this movie entirely disrespectful, stupid, dumb, not even a good movie at face value.
But
Fuck
funny.
this movie. Fuck this movie.
I will say this, in Rise of Skywalker, I like how aggressive Kylo Ren is at the beginning.
Yeah, I guess. I'm just
I don't know,
over it.
it's nice because he's like actually evil.
I'm just over it.
I'll say by the end of the movie,
fair.
you kind of forget about that, though.
Yeah, that's true. He's a completely different character by the end.
Yeah.
Which I guess
it's
is
like, does,
character growth, I think.
Yeah, it's the only
Maybe.
time the character growth happened in this daggone sequel trilogy.
I saw more character
Shit.
growth than Last Jedi, to be honest, but yeah, I guess he did kind
That's
of
true.
get rid of Kylo Ren in this movie and fully embrace Ben Solo in this movie, I guess.
They just gave him like a new shittier helmet as well.
Yeah.
Oh, God almighty. That also in that documentary, they address the thought process behind that. Let me see if I can find that daggone, because where is it?
I don't think these movies not being great can be blamed on one single person. I think like I was saying with the other ones, I think all the actors are trying their best. I think J.J. Abrams tried his best. I really do. I don't think it turned out well, but I think that he tried his best on both of them. Same thing with Rian Johnson. Whoever's in charge of special effects did a great job. Whoever's in charge of whatever, everything. Everyone did great. It just comes down to poor planning on the producer's side. They needed an executive producer who had a vision for the whole trilogy to come in and help plan it and like talk with the writers and the directors, but they just didn't do that. If it is to fall on one person, it should fall on Kathleen Kennedy, because she should have gotten the right people to like carry this, but she didn't. She was just flying by the seat of her pants.
Oh, you want to talk about why they retconned Kylo Ren destroying the mask in Episode 8? Was because Kathleen Kennedy set the...
No, they didn't retcon it, they just fixed it.
Oh, no, they retconned it. Because
They retconned it?
JJ didn't want to do it. Kennedy made him do it because she said the mask makes him more powerful. That's what I got from the documentary.
That's fine. That's not retconning though. He still broke the mask in Last Jedi. It's just that they repaired it.
He got that monkey.
Because it's a different looking mask.
The original plan was to have him not wear the mask at all.
I like
That
that.
was going. That was the
It's
end
not
of the mask.
marketable though.
Yeah, that would be. I think that what Rian Johnson did was genius, because it's in Force Awakens, Kylo Ren is worried that he's not gonna be able to like live up to Darth Vader or whatever, and he's like struggling with whatever. And then through Last Jedi, he's like, I don't fucking need to be Darth Vader. I can be my own person. And he destroys the helmet, and now he's his own villain. Right? It's perfect. And then they just were like, but the mask looks cool. But to be fair, that's a decision that would have been made in that, like, George Lucas probably would have done the same thing, because George Lucas is a genius businessman, and everything he does because he knows that he can sell a toy of it.
Yeah, that's probably my main criticism with the daggum Ewoks.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It should have been Wookiees.
That's the part of Return of the Jedi that is kind of falling apart for me. I don't care for any of the Ewok shit.
Do you know the reason, like, why they exist?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Right?
It's not horrible. It doesn't ruin it, but yeah, it's because George Lucas was like, we need cute animals that we can sell as toys.
Do you know what the original thought process was?
I'm pretty sure they were originally supposed to be Wookiees.
They were originally supposed to be
take
Wookiees.
place on Kashyyyk.
Yeah, they said they didn't have it.
Wookiees are too advanced.
They didn't have it in the budget or something, so he decided to make them a little smaller.
So he moved the E from the end and put it at the front. We got Ewok.
It's like the E-boy version of a Wookiee.
Yeah. Yeah,
Ewok.
I'm an Ewok.
All right, guys. Any closing arguments? Anything you want to get out there before we wrap this up?
Watch the documentary instead of watching the movie. It's more entertaining.
What he said.
The fact that a documentary about the making of the movie is more entertaining than the actual movie, that should tell you enough. That should tell you enough.
I don't know. I think that nothing's perfect, and there are definitely still worse movies that have been made in recent years than any of these movies. Like, I would say none of these movies are nearly as bad as Justice League. Can we all at least agree on that?
Snyder Cut's coming out next month.
I'm excited for that. It's going to be bad, but I'm going to love it.
Joker's going to be in it.
I know. We live in a society, don't we, Batman?
He looks like the
You
nun.
like Justice League, JMash?
Yeah.
He does.
Wow. Then how come you don't like Rise of Skywalker? They're both just huge messes.
Rise of Skywalker is
Actually,
worse.
Rise of Skywalker and Justice League have a lot of similarities. They were both fucked because, like, there wasn't a plan, and then so when it came time to do a thing, they just had to slap it together. Because Batman v Superman isn't horrible, but for some reason people didn't like it, so then when it came time to do Justice League, they just were like, nah, wreck on it. Just fucking fix everything that's been set up.
I have some problems with Justice League, but as much as I don't like about it, I do like some stuff about it. It's fine.
I have a closing statement for the sequel trilogy.
Let's hear it.
You failed!
Oh, dang.
The Force was not with you.
Yeah, this ain't it, Disney. This ain't it. Sorry, this ain't it, man.
You're fucking up, Disney. You only got a couple million more of these in you before you're out of money.
You done fucked it up.
Yep.
Like I said,
But you know what? I would rather them continue to fuck up Star Wars than to start fucking up Marvel. So.
oh God, please do not. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't.
Dude,
please don't. No.
I know we're not talking about this.
No.
I was when Endgame came out. What?
I don't want them to mess up
Don't mess
Marvel.
up Marvel,
I don't want them to mess up Marvel.
Yeah, dude. After Endgame, I was over it. I was like, I'm over Marvel. I got what I came in for. I'm good. But now that WandaVision,
I was about to say
is out and
WandaVision.
stuff,
Oh
WandaVision
man,
is pulling me back in. It's so good.
and I like Far From Home, but daggone WandaVision.
I didn't really like Far From Home.
I didn't really care for it either. I honestly didn't care for Homecoming that much either. I think it's fine,
Same.
but
Yeah, they're both.
I have a soft spot for the original 3 Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies.
That's understandable.
A huge soft spot even. Spider-Man 2 is probably my favorite comic book movie of all time.
It's mine too, bro.
It's so good.
It's my favorite superhero movie. Well, probably that or Dark Knight.
We're getting off topic again. Before you know it, we'll be back to talking
I'm
about
already
the
done. I finished what I've
Oh, did you stop
said.
recording?
No, I'm just.
I'm about to say,
finished
we
Star
need to stop
Wars.
recording and just shoot the shit.
In closing, fuck Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, yeah.
You can suck my nuts.
I may work for Disney, so I'm gonna stay silent on that one. I'm
Kathleen
not gonna.
Kennedy's nuts. Am I right?
God almighty. We're almost
Make
2
sure
hours.
to check out Fizgiig.
Good lord.
Yeah, check out Fizgiig. Fizgiig. YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all that good stuff.
Yeah,
It'll
his
be in the
channel will
description.
I'm trying to wrap it up, Joseph.
I'm not stopping you.
Joseph. You'll.
Ooh.
I know, but you're just anyway. Joseph will have a ranking of all 12 Star Wars films. Whoop, whoop. And I'm done with Star Wars. You probably won't hear from me for a while.
Do you know
Wars.
when this will be going up?
Probably. I'll try to have it up by Friday.
Okay. Keep your eyes peeled this weekend. I might be releasing something pretty fun.
Does it have anything to do with
Like
Star
putting out
Wars?
something?
It does not.
Dang it. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I'm probably done talking about Star Wars until maybe
on, let's
the
make it a
next
2 hours.
season
Come
of
on.
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
We're almost there. We're like 8 minutes over.
Yeah.
We talk for 7.5 minutes.
I mean, we were talking about WandaVision.
Yeah, I'm just gonna condense it down.
Yeah.
I'm
So
condensing
here's my problem
down-
with Sheev.
Yeah, I'm gonna condense this all down to 10 minutes.
Nice.
2-hour recording.
It's a 2-hour recording. You just gotta cut out. It's a 2-hour
It's just
recording with like an hour and 45 minutes of us talking about the prequels.
Yeah.
No, I think this is probably
10
the
minutes is
longest
just us
video
rating
you're
the
probably going to
movies.
edit. I don't remember how long Joker was.
That was about the same.
The worst thing the sequels have done is that they're not that interesting.
Yeah.
Like, people who like the prequels, but even if you don't like the prequels, there's a lot to talk about with them. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But like with the sequels, it's just like, yeah, the writing sucks.
Yeah. I think we're going in circles at this point.
It's true.
So about them prequels.
All right.
Yeah. Not
Everyone
good.
say bye.
Bye.
Mash up.
May the
Say bye,
force be with
JMash.
you, I guess.